afternoon. So a lot has happened since last night. I'm actually at the playground on the roof today. So as you can see, I have a tube in my nose, but it's a different kind of tube. It's a tube that's measuring the acid in my esophagus, because your esophagus isn't supposed to have a lot of acid, and so it's just measuring how much, because you know, when you throw up there's acid, and so it's measuring. So it has this fancy machine that it's hooked up to, and I think it's like reversed and stuff, but it just has the information and stuff, like none of my information or anything, just like the information of what's going on in my esophagus. And so it has these fancy buttons that every time I have, like, they call it a symptom, like every time I throw up I have to hit the button so that they know what's happening in my esophagus when I throw up. And then if I'm laying down I have to hit this button, and then if I'm eating I have to hit this button, and then I hit this button if they give me my acid reducer medicine, which I only take twice a day, and so I'm gonna get it tonight, but then the tube is gonna come out in the morning because it's only like a 20-hour test. It's actually supposed to be 24, but they're gonna take it out after 20 hours just because I'm like high risk vomit. So like there's a really high risk I'm gonna vomit the tube. So we've been working really hard, not like we didn't any other time, but we're trying really hard not to vomit this tube. And it's a lot smaller, so they gave me like the really small ones so that I don't vomit it up. And because it's really hard to get, because it's so small, it's going to be hard for my body to even get a grip on it, whereas the other one was like a lot, like 3 times thicker than this. So it's also made out of a different material, so we're thinking that it'll probably stay down. It's done good so far. They're put me on a regular house diet, which means whatever that's on the menu I can order, because they want me, even though I'm vomiting everything, they still want me to try and eat so that it can just so that it can measure what my esophagus does with regular food. And so also because I'm vomiting it anyway, they're like, just eat what you want, because I mean it's gonna come up anyway. So I'm still eating like easy-ish things. Like I tried some oatmeal this morning, because I mean soft foods are just kind of more logical. So I've been having lots of soft foods. I also had another test today, actually 2 other tests today, where they stuck a tube down my nose that went all the way, that went through my esophagus, and it was a really big, it was like as big as my nostril. I don't know, it was probably like this thick, the tube was. And it went in and it was measuring the electric pulses of my esophagus, because you know everything works and pushes down, and so it was measuring the sphincters as well, because you know the sphincter thing that the doctor was thinking was the issue. So we're really hoping I failed that test, because that would mean that it was an easy fix, but we're not sure. Also, I had another test where they stuck a tube. I had so many tubes up my nose today, where they stuck another tube up my nose, and it just stayed like right here at the very top of my throat, and it had a camera and a light to watch me swallow. So I had to eat a bunch of dyed green food, and they watched me swallow to make sure that I was swallowing correctly. And I passed that test, which is good. Everyone expected me to pass that test, even I did. So other than that, I have to have 15 minutes of sun, so I am enjoying the sunshine. It's kind of hard because it's cloudy, so I keep kind of like slouching, and so I had to climb up onto the playground to get sun, but it's sun. It's nice to be outside. When I first walked outside though, my eyes hurt so bad, because like even though we came on the roof 2 days ago, it was really cloudy, so we didn't like actually get any sunshine. So this is the first sunshine I've had in like over 2 weeks, and my eyes are just like, ah, like they just started tearing up, and they were like, it burns, it burns. So it's nice to be outside though. It's not as cold. It's very comfortable actually. So it's like more comfortable than my room. So it's nice to be outside and see the garden, the potted plants. But yeah, that's my day so far. 3 tubes up my nose. Not very pleasant. I just found out the rest of my family is coming. My grandma and mom came to visit me. Well, my mom's always here. My grandma came to visit, say hi. And now the rest of my family is coming. They're here.
Why do you have a tube?
It's measuring the acid in my esophagus.
Hi. What's this?
You do have a tube down your nose.
Does
I
this
do.
cool your nose?
That is the buttons I press. It's measuring the acid in my esophagus. This is what I press when I have medicine, when I'm eating, when I'm laying down, or when I vomit. I have to press that. Cool, huh? Yay! The Moravian Star is reflecting, so it looks like it's on top of the building. Pretty cool. Good evening. I almost said afternoon, but it is not afternoon. Sorry, my nose is running. It's still in. It's been in for 10 hours, and I am 10 hours more. Good. My family left about an hour and a half ago to go home because the little kids needed to go to bed, and it was really good to see them. It was pretty awesome to spend time with them. My sugar dropped. It's kind of been 86. It was 86 this morning, and then it was 82 this afternoon. Regular is between 70 and 110, and they don't want it to go any lower than 70. And so this evening it was 62 or 65. And so they had me eat a whole bunch of sugary foods. And then, I vomited them, but then I guess some of the sugar got absorbed because then I was back up to 86. But then an hour later, they took it again and it was 73. So, I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. The doctors have actually changed a lot of things, and we don't know exactly why. They haven't explained it. So they stopped my dextrose IV, and I'm just on a regular saline IV at 30 milliliters an hour, which is really slow. So I'm getting just like a tiny bit, which is not enough to keep me hydrated. So we're not exactly sure why. And so we asked the nurse to page the doctor so we could talk to him and ask. And so the doctor said they would just explain it in the morning. So we're just kind of chilling until morning, not really sure what the plan is or what's going on. My test results for the big esophagus tube that was measuring the pulses of my esophagus was supposed to come back this afternoon, but it never came back, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just means the doctor hasn't looked at it yet. And then the official results of my swallow test didn't come back, but the test administrator, she said that was totally fine. And then, but she said she can't diagnose because she's not a doctor, but she said that all the acid from throwing up has not damaged my throat, but it has irritated it. So I'm not sure what the doctors are going to do about that either. They restarted me on a medicine that's going to go under my tongue to help with my sleeping and also help increase the serotonin, because all that's supposed to be developed in your stomach, and my stomach isn't really working properly. So they're thinking the more serotonin, the better. So they are giving me that. And I think, oh yeah, my IV site went bad again, but it's not like completely bad because it's still getting saline through, like it's still taking it. It's just kind of like getting hard and red, which just means like it's getting really irritated. And then it keeps leaking and bleeding, which like sometimes they bleed a little, but they're not supposed to leak. But it's not causing extreme pain. It's like tolerable pain, so they are just leaving it until they have time to change it. And then apparently they're going to change it, and they're going to give me 2 IVs. So they're going to give me 1 IV that they're just going to use, and then if it goes bad, then they're just going to go to the other IV, because since I'm such a hard stick, they don't want to have to like have me off the fluids, because I'm not supposed to be off fluids for very long. So they're just going to have me they're just gonna give me 2 IVs so that if one goes bad, they can just unhook it and rehook it, so I'm automatically on, so that I don't have to have a big break of trying to get a new stick, because it's just kind of difficult to get a stick on me. So that's going to be the first time I've had 2 IVs at the same time. One time I had an IV in, but it was in a really bad spot, so they were trying to get it in. They like tried 5 more times to get a new IV, but they failed, so then we were just like, it's okay, we can just have it in a bad spot. So I've had an IV in and been poked, but I've never actually had 2 working IVs in at the same time. So that is, that's going to be new, and that's going to be a cool, well, not, it might be cool, I don't know. They won't both be running at the same time, they're just going to both be in. So like if I decided to take a shower, then I would have to worry about 2 IVs that I can't get wet instead of just 1. But actually right now I can't shower because of this electrical thing going inside of my esophagus, which is unfortunate, but it's okay. I'm not gonna die because I couldn't shower. Plus, it's gonna come out tomorrow anyway, and I take showers in the morning, so I'm just gonna take a shower after it's out. No big deal. So I'm just chilling, waiting for the nurses to come in and put my 2 IVs in. So I'll probably get ready for bed while I'm waiting because I'm tired. So that is my update for tonight. I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll update you tomorrow. Good night.